Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope the participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're with us this evening. And thank you, Farah, for being here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Yes.
You're muted, Elizabeth. You're muted. There you go.
I'm going to go ahead and read Farah's bio. Sorry about being muted. How exciting. I'm so excited to have her here that I don't even know I'm muted. Anyway, let's go ahead and read this, which is very short before she gets started. Farah began to give specific messages to people here in the physical world from their loved ones in heaven in her late teens. She remembers watching television as a teen and seeing Sylvia Browne, John Edwards, and James Van Praagh on their shows, and she thought to herself, whatever disease John and Sylvia have, as well as James, I must also have. They made her feel normal because they were the first people she had seen who shared the same ability that she does. She now realizes that in important times, she was able to deliver important, life-saving messages. And I just want to tell all of you that she's kind of like a pixie fairy that runs around and helps everybody when she's at the conference. She delivered so many messages that people didn't expect, I don't think, at the conferences that she's been at with us. And she is an energizer bunny as well. But to learn more about her or to book a session, you can visit her website, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it in the chat box. But without further ado, please join me and Irene in welcoming the beautiful Fara Gibson. Welcome, Farah.
Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be here. I just want to say first, thank you so much for having me. And everybody can hear me. I'm not muted, right? I don't want to pull an Elizabeth. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to talk today about connecting with your kids because I really think that it's an important thing that you guys understand you have an unbreakable bond with your children. And I know that it's difficult for some people. I don't know how many of you guys may struggle with meditation, but I can tell you it's something that even I'm not great at, no matter how many amazing abilities that I have, and I'm pretty blessed. I can't get my human brain to shut off a lot of times when I'm meditating, and I feel like I'm failing at meditating because I'm not flying out of my body over the house and, you know, past the neighbor's yard to see what's going on, and I'm not seeing like glittery elephants in my vision, and I'm wondering what's wrong with me half the time that I'm meditating. I did learn that during meditation, you are really setting your body aside and kind of giving yourself permission to work, your soul permission to work with your guides and with everybody. But I want to really talk about connecting with your kids because I want you guys to understand that it doesn't take all of that to connect with your kids. You have unbreakable bonds that you were born with long before you ever came here that will never be severed. And I want to teach you just a little bit about that tonight. And I speak about the car analogy a lot. So if you've heard me say this, but I just want to say this, your body is like a car that you're driving. Every one of you right now still has a car that you're driving on this road called life. And your driver within you is the spirit that existed in heaven long before you ever came into this earthly body or car. And tonight I'm going to ask you to separate your car from the driver just a little bit, because the only thing that dies for us, and I don't ever use the word dies because, and I do this even when I'm saying that word, because we don't die. The driver is never touched by what the car is going through in life. We're only learning and growing by watching through the windows of the car on this journey. And you have an amazing soul print that you wrote for yourself, and you joined your kids in heaven and your family dynamic and your friends, even the ones you don't like. Sometimes somebody has to write to be the villain and challenge us. You probably knows who those are in your lifetime. And just know that each and every one of you has this amazing purpose, but your body and your spirit are not attached. They're not. You actually, when you go to sleep at night, just to give you an idea, when you go to sleep at night, your body needs rest because it's that physical thing that has needs like food and water and sleep and all of those things. But your spirit within you actually doesn't need to sleep. We're made of pure light. We're amazing. So you will actually leave your body in that astral travel that we hope for in meditation without your body even having knowledge of it. Every night, that falling feeling that you get sometimes, it scares the crap out of you and jolts you awake at night when you're like sleeping in that half sleep state and it scares the crap out of you. That's your spirit going, hey guys, I got to go. My body's about to wake up and I'm not back in it. And it's that flying back down, that impact back into self. And it scares the crap out of us every time. If you've ever woken up and you can't move, can't scream, driver didn't get back in the car before the car woke up. It's very simple. There's nothing holding you down and you're just fine. Talk to your guides about getting the driver back in the car sooner. But I want to talk about your connection with your kids. And the reason I wanted to tell you about the car versus the spirit, the driver within, your thoughts are your soul's voice speaking. I'm not talking about when you're engaging your brain and you're trying to do a math equation that actually uses your brain, but your thoughts, that silent voice in your head, is your spirit voice. It's loud and clear in heaven. Let me just tell you this. You never need a medium to tell your children anything for you. You never have to pay anybody or let anybody take advantage of you to tell your children. They hear your words that you speak with your body, though they don't have a body any longer. They absolutely have the ability to hear everything that you're doing. And they also hear your thoughts because your thoughts are your soul's voice speaking loud and clear the same way that we speak in heaven. And so tonight, I'm going to ask you to unzip your body and take it off and set it to the side because we don't need any of it. None of it. I'm not going to ask you to focus on your breathing, your heartbeat, none of that stuff. I don't want your brain engaged at all. You don't even have to use it. What I do want you to keep is your soul's voice. That's the only thing that I'm going to ask you to work with tonight. So we're going to unzip our body and set it aside. You don't need any of it. I promise. And now you have your thoughts. Your thoughts are your silent voice inside your head. And now the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is with just your soul's voice, not your vocal cords, not your lungs, with no need for your body. I want you to just simply say your child's name in your head silently and say, I love you. And we're going to do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you hear that? You could hear your thought and that set of words with your child's name and I love you going out to heaven. They hear it just the same. It's the same way that I get validations from your kids when I'm connecting. If any of you have had readings with me, you do understand how specific I can be. I do allow them to use my body for indications, things like that. So when I do a reading, I use a little bit more than we're going to use tonight, but I want to teach you communication with your kids. So one more time, in the loudest scream that you can possibly scream in your head this time, I want you to scream in your head, not out loud with your voice. I want you to scream your child's name, and I want you to scream, I love you, with more feeling. 1, 2, 3. Did you hear that? That's your soul's voice. And now you're using it. And when you hear them back, you're going to hear them in the same voice that you just spoke to them with. It's not going to be in your ears. I know that we desperately want it to be. It's not going to be this loud outward voice that you're going to hear when we're connecting with our child's soul. So I want to teach you how to hear your child. So now we're going to reverse this. You've already invited your child to be here, right? When you said, I love you, shoot, they were actually already here before that, but whatever. But you're already inviting them to work with you in that moment. Now I want you to listen for just a moment, and I want you to imagine your child in your soul's voice, in your head, saying, Mom or Dad, I love you. And we're going to do that now on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you hear it? Because I can tell you when you heard that, you weren't imagining it. The reason I ask you to set your body down and your brain, because we don't need it, because your brain, you are one of your biggest obstacles when it comes to connecting with your child. Your brain is going to be one of the biggest obstacles. Self-doubt, set it down, don't need it. I imagined that. Nope, don't need it. When you hear your child, you're going to feel like you're pretending what you would hear them say in your head, but you're hearing your kid. Now I need you to trust that. And you don't even need your heart for that trust because you have your soul. And I want you guys to understand that you have unbreakable bonds that are bigger than my connection with heaven. And I have a pretty good connection. But your guys' connection is much bigger than mine. And so now we're going to do the same I love you with the scream from your child. I want you to imagine your child screaming at the top of their lungs, Mom, Dad, I love you. And we're going to do that in 3. 1, 2, 3. Every single one of you just heard your child. It's that simple. It really is. I think there's so many different versions of things out there that make things so complicated. And let me just say that I'm just not like a regular, I don't do well with some of the mainstream ideas of like, try this, do that, do this, what if this helps, crystals and cards and all of the things. And I have found that really you have every tool built within you. You need nothing. There is nothing that you need to know that connection with your child. Now, if tools make you comfortable with the process of connecting, by all means, please use them. If there is something that you have found that makes you feel like you are brought closer to your child and to that connection, please use it. I'm not saying that they don't work. They do. I just want you to understand that you absolutely don't have a need for it. And the reason I want you to understand that is because what if you're out and about and you're on a walk and you just want to connect with your child, but you don't have your cards or you don't have your whatever. And I want you to understand that that bond is there no matter what you have in your hand or you don't, or no matter what you've learned or you haven't, because your human brain doesn't matter in that connection. And I just want to make sure that I try to help you guys with that. So I'm pretty famous on here for like putting up challenges to the kids as well. Do we need to stop for anything actually before I do that? Anybody have questions?
No, so far we do have people saying in the chat box, tears came to my eyes, so beautiful to connect. And then Rita is saying, why do we doubt? Sarah saying, since my daughter passed, I feel like I do this a lot, silence and just talking with my thoughts, but I never believed it was them for real. So
Love.
this is
So
when
you are absolutely hearing them. I can promise you with every ounce of my being. Self-doubt, though, it's a human thing. I mean, so we come here for the human experience. And let me just backtrack. So when we are in heaven with our in our pure spirit form or our driver form, before we jump into these cars, so to speak, we have full knowledge of everything. We are made of pure, amazing light. I do believe in God. You can throw that word out the window, replace it with love if you don't. So I do believe we're all made of God's light within. You guys are all freaking amazing within. So am I. We're all very different within. But when we jump into these cars are this terrible filter. It's like the most like crampy filter that literally removes all of our knowledge of heaven and our our memory of being there and our memory of our soul plan and all those things. But we do still have this amazing soul within this car that every now and then that deja vu, that's really you just remembering your blueprint in that moment. It's nothing, like it's amazing because it tells you that you're in the right place at the right time because you wrote it. All of those things though are filtered out for us, and human experience is put into this dang car, right? It's like having, what is it, a catalytic converter, that the guys don't want, or like the dang thing. Now we got DEF on our diesel trucks, right? Nobody wants that. We've got parts that we don't necessarily want, like self-doubt, but you have the ability of wrenching on your car. And the only way that you're going to wrench on your car is really to go, you know what, I'm taking this tool, I'm going to remove that self-doubt, and I'm setting that down, I don't need it. And, and then replace it with confidence, replace it with trust, and when you start to do that, because if we place our focus on self-doubt, we're only going to have self-doubt as a focus, and we're feeding that. Remember Linus, like on Charlie Brown, like he had that cloud that he fed every day, and it just got, he just had this gray cloud over him all the time. Are you feeding what you want, or are you feeding what you don't want? That's the question. And so make sure you're not feeding what you don't want. I always say feed your dreams, not your fears. Take the self-doubt, throw it down. You don't need it anymore. I threw mine out the window a long time ago, which is why the crap that flies out of my mouth, I have no doubt about. And I don't have much of a filter. Those of you who have seen me, I try not to cuss on here. And I just let it fly how it is, because I've tried to remove as many filters as I possibly can for my body so that I can absolutely be more present for you guys. But you guys have the ability to remove some of those filters and feel closer to your children. And I really want you to work on that thought process in your head and trust it, because I know, again, like I said, our human minds really want that experience of hearing their out loud voice. Now, I'm not going to say that you won't hear it ever. I will not say that, because anything is possible. They're capable of everything. But at the same time, you got to understand that you're here for growth. And they're not meant to make everything easy. You're growing through your grief. That's part of their blessing to you, as terrible as that sounds. And so know that they are still present for you, even the moments that you don't feel them. And I will say this too. Everybody always says to me, like, oh gosh, Farah, I wish I was like you, because I would talk to my loved ones every day, all day long. Guess what, folks? I don't. My grandmother just passed in December of last year. So we're coming up on her 1-year angelversary in this December. And everybody's like, have you heard from your grandma? Have you heard from your grandma? I don't really hear from her. Why? Because I don't typically connect for myself. Could I? Yes. Ethically, I kind of feel like if I'm going to connect for somebody, it's going to be for somebody who needs it. I know my grandma's good. But the other thing that I've found over the years is that we are definitely more psychic for others than we are for ourselves sometimes. So challenge your child. If you're struggling with that communication with them for yourself, challenge them to tell you something about somebody else. You don't even have to tell this other person, like challenge your child to tell you what so-and-so had for lunch today. And then ask so-and-so what they had for lunch today. You don't have to tell them my kid said you had tacos. You know what I mean? Like, so there's things that you can do to get around and to start working with your child, and have them give you information about something else, or somebody else. And maybe it's a healing message that you start getting comfortable with sharing, but I always challenge them to be specific. No fluff, no fluff. So I'm not going to be the one that goes, oh, they're fluttering at your side and they're kissing your cheek and oh, they love you so much and they're with you every day. That is not what I'm looking for. I get stern with them. I'm like, nope, that's BS. We're not doing that. You're going to have to give me something better. And then usually I'll find out like, oh, like just the other night I was doing a reading for a couple and their child was showing me frogs and I'm like, what's with the frogs? It sounded so stupid, right? So here I am. I got to bring up frogs. These frogs that I was seeing, their son was showing me this pond near their house first, and he was showing me a bunch of frogs. And they were like, oh my gosh, we have such an infestation of poisonous frogs. And I'm like, oh, that's a problem. Send them back to heaven with your son. Like, but I almost didn't say it because it sounded dumb. I was like, okay, but I've learned over the years, say it, Farah, even if it sounds dumb, because it was a current thing that they just literally had an issue with the day before. So trust that the things that are coming across to you make sense. Write them down if you have to. Start jotting them down, so that you don't forget them. Because here's the thing, you guys, like even when I took notes today during a reading that I was doing, the woman started talking to me about something and then my human mind got involved. So when I do readings, I am holding a notebook in my hand and I am writing down every validation that is coming through during a reading. While I'm writing, using my human brain in that moment of writing those validations down, their loved one is clearly showing me the next validation. They're not using my brain for that. They're connecting with my soul for that. There's a very separate connection between brain and soul. You don't need your brain. You're not overthinking it. You're not imagining it. And I want you to understand that when you're hearing them, in moments like that, you see a sign, let's say that you've seen a sign from your child, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, whatever it is, we'll use butterflies because that's an easy one, but whatever. But when you see a butterfly and you go, oh my gosh, that's my daughter. Or maybe another day you see a butterfly and you go, wow, that's a really cool butterfly. What's the difference there? The day that you said that that butterfly pulled you to your daughter, you heard your daughter say, that's from me. I sent that butterfly. The day that it was just a cool butterfly, it's just a cool butterfly. Not everything has to be a sign, but everything can be a sign. Just so you guys know, they're communicating with you in big, big ways, even when you don't hear them. And I just hopefully this is going to be a little bit helpful for you guys today. And if let me just check with Elizabeth to see if is there any questions or.
Well, there's so many people that are getting so much out of what you're saying. And I just wanted to say that, for instance, let's see, Darlene Johnson, in the beginning of all of these things that people are saying, said that she heard her daughter's voice and got chills and then just cried. She had to turn her video off.
Okay.
And then she said, Farah, you are so amazing. I love your energy. And then Vanessa's saying, this is one heck of a blueprint, what we're having to do.
It
Lots
is.
of freaking ink, she says, which is cute.
It's yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So just so you guys know, I am 3 chapters in on chapter 4 of writing a book. And I have not announced the name of the book, but I will just go ahead and tell you, it is going to be titled, How Do I Live My Life When My Child is in Heaven? And I'm going to take you all the way back to why we do this, the soul prints, all of it with no filter, you guys. I don't sugarcoat crap. And it's a big assignment that heaven asked me to write. Actually, when I was in my car and heaven asked me to write it, I laughed and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Put a stupid poetry book out? Because I love writing poems. And people always say, put a poetry book out. And then heaven said, no, I need you to write a book for the parents. And I was like, crap. So it's taking me a little bit of time and a lot of care to like make sure that I write everything, that because there's so many different subjects to touch on when it comes to a child passing, whether it was illness, tragedy, all those things, and the soul print and the reason behind it. But just know that you do truly have a purpose, guys. And I do have a book that I did write, and it's called Heaven's Voices Within Your Soul. This one is a teaching book for your very own connections. It's short and sweet and to the point and in Farah talk. So if you don't have this one, get it, sit down, read it, because you'll love it a muchness. And listen, if you don't ever buy my book, that's fine. If you can get somebody to loan one to you, that's okay too. Okay, so now we're
Hey,
gonna
can I just break in
Yeah.
here? I just want to tell everyone that she usually gives all of her books away. So she's given so many books away at our meeting. I mean, she brings these huge boxes of them and then just gives them to everyone. But I also wanted to say that there are so many people that are identifying with what you're saying. There is one question here from Yen saying, how do we know for sure that our children are fine in heaven? I keep asking this question over and over. Sometimes I want to believe my child is fine in heaven, but sometimes I feel so hopeless that I cannot have an answer. Can you maybe speak to that?
No, absolutely. You guys, I can tell you that this earth that we live on, I'm going to say the HE double toothpicks word, but this is hell. This is as bad as it gets, folks. It is tough and terrible and hard. I can tell you that heaven, the place that we came from, is pure perfection. There are no negative thoughts, no negative feelings, no negative emotions that exist in heaven. They don't even miss you. Missing you would be a negative emotion. And what kind of heaven would heaven be if we sat around for all eternity missing the people that we loved? Instead of missing you, they're loving you. But we are absolutely perfect. And if you can picture your child the most perfect you could ever picture them, and then multiply that by infinity, you still have no idea how perfect they are. You're not even close. The colors there, the beauty there. And again, I'm putting all of that in this book for the parents, because I think that it's important that we know where we are and where our children are and where we came from, so we really come here because we come to go through the muck, and it's very hard with our human minds to imagine, especially like if you've seen your child during their passing, or seen them after they pass. Sometimes our visual human mind is stuck on that last visual point of how they looked in the human sense when they passed. I can tell you guys, you were just checking out the car. The spirit driver within that car was never touched by what that body went through, not 1 millisecond of it. They're in pure perfection. I promise, with everything in me. And I was raised by a good old boy, and my grandma taught me, don't you ever lie. And I don't. She always taught me, if you lie, you just get into another lie and you can't dig out of that one. You got to lie to cover that up, and then you're 5 lies in. I will always be honest. I won't sugarcoat anything to the point where, even if you think like, I've had to tell somebody that it was suicide when they felt like, oh, they said it was suicide, but I don't think that it happened. I'm like, I don't mind being honest, because I feel like the more that we know, the less we fear. And I feel like the more honest I can be, the more opportunity you have to heal. So I promise you that your child is more than perfect. I think that it's probably your grief that's clouding that. So if you can just start taking that cloud and just wad it up in a ball and throw it out the window and start picturing your child perfect, then you'll probably get a better focus of seeing your child more clearly and feeling them more clearly, because you're feeding that, you're feeding that grief. And let's just instead feed our love for them. And then as we feed our love for them and picture them perfect, we might just clear some of that out of your days. Sounds to me like you're struggling with grief, and that's normal. Grief is made of love, you guys. Not one of you is doing it wrong. If you are struggling, you're doing it out of love. And if you're celebrating your kids, you're doing it out of love. Nobody grieves incorrectly. So yeah.
Jill is saying something that's very beautiful. Just last week, for 10 months since my son passed, I've been meditating. Last week, I felt like I had a full conversation with him in my head. He tells me that he's everywhere we are, at home, in his brother's room, and in his room. In the end, he says, Mom, I just woke up sooner than you. When you wake up, I will be right there waiting for you. So just enjoy your dream. That brought me so much comfort. I feel like I'm going to get emotional about that. But yes, when we transition, they are going to be exactly the same, and they're going to be there waiting for us. But we will not have missed out on anything with them.
Nothing. And yeah, just so you guys know, there is no sense of time in heaven. Time does not exist. We do not have to run around with watches on our wrist in heaven. Heaven's timing is eternal. So the time that your child passed or transitioned or graduated to, I call it graduated to heaven. But the time that your child graduated to heaven to the time that you get there to them, and I don't care if you live for another 100 years after them, it is a blink of an eye in heaven's timing. So I want you to know that they're not sitting around going, oh, come on, like, again, they're present with you. And they're just like she heard her child say that they are everywhere. They are. You guys, they can be in more than one place at a time. I've done readings where I literally have people on Skype in like 3 different locations, and they're describing things that are out of camera view in all 3 different freaking locations at the same time that I'm connecting. So I'm in Arizona, they're connecting with me in Arizona. You can be in Australia, in Ireland, in Minnesota, I don't care where you are, and you can be in all 3 different places, and they can absolutely see all those 3 different places in presence and be with me. They're boundless. They're out of this dang car, which is so cool because we can fly in heaven. So, and you can imagine something in an instant, like you can manifest something in an instant. So if you want to be at the top of Mount Everest, which is that what's behind you? You can be at the top of Mount Everest in a millisecond. You don't even have to hike the dang thing, which is cool, But again, there's no challenge in heaven. So which is why we come here and we go, oh man, I just really want to climb that mountain, like for real, and then game on, we get here and we're like, whoa, this climb is a bugger. I know. She's like, uh-oh.
Good job.
So, and then here in reality, it sucks, because in heaven, everything's perfect. We're like, oh, I'm going to do that and that and that and that. You guys are the ones that are amazing because as you wrote this life plan, you were like, all right, I'm going to do this thing where my child graduates before me and I can handle this. Like, I got this, people are walking behind you in heaven going, what are you doing? Like, I've done that. That one's tough. They're like, oh, I'm fine. We're fine. I can do this. Game on. It sucks. Just like the person in heaven told you, but you're here for your growth. And that's what's important. That's why you're here for this journey. So yeah.
Yeah, I have another question, and all
Okay.
of these answers are just wonderful. Sarah's asking, can siblings have the same connection as parents? My daughter that is still here is really struggling, and I want her to watch the video once it's posted to help her see that she can connect. But is it the same for siblings? So
Absolutely. You guys have family soul bonds. I'm just using the example of parent to children right now because that's the group that we're with. You have unbreakable soul bonds with everyone in your family and friend dynamic. Actually, you're all made of the same thing. You planned this life together. You sat in the same circle in heaven with that soul bond so closely that you joined each other here in life, in this earthly form, in this car. And so I want you to know that you absolutely have unbreakable bonds with your loved ones. Does it make everybody a medium overnight? No. Those soul bonds run deep. It doesn't necessarily make you a medium, and that's okay. You have an unbreakable bond that you can use every day because that's there whether you're a medium or not. And that's why I wanted to teach you that. I wanted to give you an experience of what it is to hear them, and that's why I wanted you to imagine them saying, but I already told them they had to scream at you today. So, they already have direct orders from me and I have direct orders from them that we're going to work on this, right? And so they're the ones who came up with that and said, just have them imagine it because you're not imagining it at all, but you have to take that self down of that brain and put it down. And so I'm going to ask you guys to have them scream I love you to you one more time because we're going to do an exercise after this that I'm going to challenge you a little bit more. And I want you to remember that soul's voice from them before we do the exercise. So on the count of 3, I want you to imagine your child in your head screaming at the top of their lungs, mom or dad or sister or brother, I love you. On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Now that we have how they're going to communicate with us, I have brought an item here today with me that we're going to challenge your children to give you a description of. It is not on camera right now. I will bring it onto camera after we're done so that you guys can see, how well your kids were able to get some things across for you. But I want to let you know this. Perfection is not going to happen right away. Don't expect it. It's okay, but we're going to expect as much perfection as we can possibly pull off. So what I'm saying is, if you don't get the whole thing in one blow, just know that it's like learning. I don't know if any of you have ever played guitar, but playing guitar, I watched my husband struggle to try to play guitar, and he couldn't just pick up the guitar and play it. And he was really frustrated because he really just wanted to be a guitar player. And so we bought a really expensive one, and he got it and he put his fingers on it, and it didn't do anything. He had to learn muscle memory, and he had to learn that focus of that muscle, and muscle memory came with repetition. And so I want you guys to give yourself time and grace. So I'm just saying this because if you don't get something specific about what it is that I'm having your child describe to you, it's okay. Nobody's going to get defeated on this. But I have an item that's over here to the side, and I want you first, in your soul's voice, to ask your child, is it hard or soft? Okay. Now I want you to ask your child another question. Is there a shape to the item that Farah has? And if so, can they show you a shape? Now you may get that shape in the form of seeing it like a memory in your mind, or you may get that shape in the form of their soul's voice in your soul communication, just so you know. They may flash you a shape in your mind's eye, which is also not part of your brain. Or they may show you a shape in the, in your soul's voice. Now I want you to ask them to give you one detail about this item that I have that they can show you that will bring detail, whether it's a color, whether it's information about what this item is. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment and let you guys ask your child to give you one open-ended detail about this item. Okay, if any of you guys are brave enough to put things into the chat box and kind of put some of the details of things that you've seen in your vision, and then I'm going to grab this item and bring it over. Should we wait for some chats to come across?
So we do have some. We have, let's see. We have, first of all, hard. People are saying hard for the most part, I guess everyone. Then
I freaking love you guys so much. You have no idea.
Yeah,
then
there's
we're
a lot.
seeing
There's a lot
hard.
being said.
And then silly, but I keep hearing banana. Okay, and then we have quartz, purple, and purple Rubik's Cube, purple heart circle, purple soft. I got a red flower in the shape of a circle, round yellow and eye, a baby duck, a
It's a blue
hard
here.
smooth
That's interesting.
green,
Okay,
diamond.
and I'm going to bring it up on camera now.
Okay, but wait just 1 second.
Okay, don't. Okay.
As many as it, white waffle ball. Let's see. Soft ball,
There's
round
so many.
red, hard egg, shaped color red. Okay, so we'll be able to look at them after and see if any of them are the same as what you're reading.
I can tell you that I'm seeing almost every single one of them correct, which has me so excited. And when I show you this, so it is a blown glass pig with wings, and there is purple and teal and yellow on it. It is round and hard. My friends just got it for me as a gift. It's got wings. So if you saw wings, it's also got a round snout on the front. So if you saw the detail of round, you're seeing that and the fact that he's round. And I can tell you, I could see where the floral thing would come in because the swirls on, are you guys seeing this on the camera? Okay. I know my light's on, but the swirls on the back of it are very floral, which is kind of why I wanted to use this, because I knew that your kids would be able to get something across to you. And the fact that most of you said it was hard, and just to be fair, real pigs are squishy. So, but this one is hard, you know, and so now you guys just went through what I go through when it comes to connecting. It's like charades with your kid. And you got to figure out what they're talking about, right? And so I do this blindly every day, and I go, okay, I know nothing about you. I know nothing about your kid, but I'm trusting that they're showing me this round, hard, like pig thing with wings, and you know, and I'm trying to describe it. You guys just did amazing. So amazing.
Good job, everyone.
And yeah, there is, like, I don't know if it's easy to see on there, but yeah, there's like a purple color of like the swirling in it. And then there's also aqua. And if you saw yellow, there's yellow. There isn't red. I'm sorry for those of you that saw red, but I did see that some of the parents on there, even though they put red, they put circle. Be happy that you got the circle. Like, I mean, honestly, you guys, be happy that you're even communicating with your kids. Even if we got it a little off, tell your kid to work harder next time. It's okay. Like, literally, I talk to them the same way that I talk to my people here. So if it was me and I got a little bit off, I would have been like, okay, get your crap together, because next time we're gonna pull this off. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, you don't have to tiptoe around heaven, guys.
Well,
Yeah.
Farah, I just want to say I never get these things. And I got hard, kind of oval circular, and then I got a duck. So when you showed it, I think that makes sense that I got a duck, even though
It does.
because there's a bird on top of it. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with myself. So
You
we
should
all have
be.
to work really hard at this though and get it
You
down.
don't have to work hard at all. That's what we're throwing hard out the window, you guys. Do you see how simply you guys all just heard your children say, I love you? You heard your children say, I love you. We switched from your children saying, I love you, to you now understanding their voice, to you getting any description at all of something I had over. It could have been anything in the world, you guys, anything. I could have had it. And believe me, knowing me, I could have had anything over there. You never know what I'll pull out. But I am so proud of you guys. Like, when I was seeing those things fly up on there, I was like, oh my God. And I don't have my readers on, so I can't read it very well. But any questions?
Let's see. There are questions. Going back a little bit, but you know, it's so much fun to do these exercises. I always love when we do these because
You just
so
heard your kids.
there are some people saying all I can say is wow, because they really got a lot of what you were saying, which is very exciting. So Vanessa's saying, OMG, I had purple and green with things on its back, which is really amazing too.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of
You guys, your kids are working with you. They want nothing more than for you to know that they're okay. And your grief is that filter, right? Like that filter of grief that you're living in. I would just like remove that filter, or at least one of them. You know what I mean? Just so you have more room for love. Hold on to some of those grief filters. You need them. You're going to grieve. Your grief is made of love. But remove one, replace it with confidence, and hear your children. And just because Farah is not here tomorrow or after this call is over tonight, I want you guys to know that you still have this ability to communicate. I remember one of my family members, when I was writing this book for teaching, said to me, why would you write a book like that? Isn't that going to take away from your business? And I was like, if I could teach everybody in this world that they have their very own connections, and I never had to work one more day as a medium, I would be blessed. So I want you guys to understand.
Let me just tell you another thing here. I think this is so much fun. Catherine says, the minute you said you had an item, I heard pig. And she said, I'm floored.
Oh.
It's so much fun to see these
You're
kinds.
hearing your kids. You don't even have to do it on cue. Like literally, they might have just jumped the gun and been like, pig, pig, and that's when it's flying at you, you guys, even when I'm connecting for a reading, I'm thinking to them, they're thinking back to me. And then I have to separate, okay, did I think that or did they think that to me? Is the best way to, like, I'm not using my brain though, right? I'm just trying to figure out, like, did I say that or did they say that back to me? It's very subtle line of trying to define, like, did I think that or did that thought pop at me? When pig flew at you, or when circle flew at you, or when hard flew at you, or whatever it is that flew at you, you're hearing them, even if it was wrong. That's what I'm saying. So it's okay if it was wrong because we're working on communication on that muscle memory and that trust of muscle memory with them. It's not muscle memory for real because I asked you to take your body off for this. So yeah, I'm just trying to, yeah, go ahead.
Miriam is saying, I think this is very funny. When I asked her, she asked her son to yell, "I love you." He whispered it. That is his temperament, does the opposite, and he was cracking up.
And now you know what I deal with when I'm connecting with them as well. Some of them don't mind my rules, like I'm like, be specific or be this or be that or, whatever. And they'll do things like I'll challenge them to something specific and they're talking about a different subject. And I'm like, really? Like, okay, but yeah, they're free to do it how they wish. But your kids, their personalities do not change in heaven, just so you know. So if they were spunky and vibrant, if they were, sweet and quiet and loving, so I feel those personality differences in my connections with them too. So I love connecting with kids because kids can be spunky and cussy. And if you know me, then I love to cuss with them, or, for them, so you guys remember. But I'm not cussing today. What are you seeing?
You're doing such a great job.
No.
So Sabina is asking a question. Some people may have psychic ability. So is it possible to get it through those abilities and not connecting with your child or loved one? So I guess what she's asking maybe is the difference between being a
Psychic
psychic.
and a medium, probably is what I'm understanding. Like as far as I'm saying, probably that's what she's asking. So I would say that the information that I get is truly from heaven. And here's why. A lot of times they'll bring up things that my client doesn't even know about. And so it can't actually be something, and they'll message me 3 days later and go, oh my gosh. So here's an example of that. I was at a group reading at the yoga studio in downtown Mesa, when I was first doing my readings, and I was going to a woman and I was connecting her with her mom who had passed, and her mom kept bringing up this big beaded bracelet. And I said, you have this big beaded bracelet from your mom? And she goes, no, I don't. And I said, yes, you do. And she's like, no, I don't have that. And I said, well, when they're planting my feet in the sand, or in cement or whatever, and I'm not budging, I can tell you that you're wrong. And I'm like, mom's showing it to me over again. It looks like pearls. It's like big pearls all the way around this bracelet. And she goes, I don't have anything like that. And she goes, I would know what I have of my mom's. And I'm like, clearly you do, but I'm going to write it down because I said it like 3 times. And I finally, when I do my readings, you guys, if they're showing me something, I'll just write it down and we'll move on. She messaged me days later and she goes, oh my gosh, I was at that yoga studio and you were bringing my mom through and she was bringing up this big beaded bracelet. And she goes, and I did not know that I had it. She goes, I just received a box in the mail from my sister of my mom's things that she had packaged for me. And when I opened the box, the first thing on the top of the box was a big beaded pearl bracelet. So this woman in my audience had no idea I wasn't psychically reading her mind, Now, if I could do that, that would be great. Let me just tell you, I would have the Powerball numbers at that point. No, I wouldn't because ethics wouldn't let me. But on a true note, I can tell you that my communication is directly to heaven. What you guys were just hearing was your children. And you're communicating with them. And that's where that self-doubt. Do people have psychic abilities? Yes, absolutely. I do think that they exist, but I can tell you right now, you guys were just working with your kids. They are the ones who set this up for us to work with them tonight. Yeah.
Wonderful. I need to ask a question for Marina. I guess she's asked it twice now. She was saying, I was told that I can't connect with my son because he needs to recover from the pain and the earth life and from the pain in his earth life. How long does this recovery take? if you can tell. And so I want you to
let me just,
Marina.
I want to just jump right in there. Whoever told you that, throw everything that they said to you out the window completely. They are not an honest connection at all. There is not a millisecond that you need your child to recover before you can communicate. They are absolutely perfect times infinity the millisecond that they pass. There is no time that somebody has to wait for a reading. I have done readings the moment that somebody passed. I've done readings for people when they're in comas in the hospital before they pass. I can tell you that they are always reachable, and there is never a time that they are in some sort of limbo place. So whoever told you that, please take that, throw it out the window, and don't go back to them because they're not, I can tell you that no true honest medium would ever tell you that.
That's beautiful. That is, I agree 100%. And I'm glad that you let Marina know, because there are other people who are asking similar questions. We also have another question. Can you give one example of a way that we learn or grow by having our child pass? It is so painful. Is there a way that you could maybe just...
I can answer it, and again, you know, I really did I just wrote the chapter on that a few nights ago. So let me just take you back to heaven for a moment, okay? So as I said, our drivers existed in heaven, and you guys, and I'm going to use the word God when I explain this. Again, if I use the word God and that does not resonate with you, please use the word love in that place. But we are all made of God's light. And I feel as though he made each of us in very different levels of light energy. Jesus would be the highest level of energy, closest to God's level that ever came here to drive one of these cars. Which is why he's so amazing to us in history. And so each and every one of you and everyone living in this world is made of God's light or love's light. And we have very different levels of that light. There are spirits in heaven that never choose to live a life at all. We are not made to live a life. But we do have an opportunity to come here on earth to live, to grow our light level to be closer to God's level of light. The only way that we can do that is through life challenges and living here on earth. This is like school. This is where we come to grow. So the strongest spirits, or with the strongest intention of that growth, write the most difficult journeys. Be proud of yourself and where you're standing, because you're amazing. And it's why I'm so driven to help parents. And I mean, I do work with people with all types of losses, you guys, in the physical world, but I can tell you that you guys have my heart for a reason. You guys are epically amazing. And I feel like I was sent with this purpose of like really just trying to help lift and remind, which is why I love talking on these events rather than connecting with, you know, we might make 7 connections in the time that we have, but what if I can just educate you and give you some information that helps your heart? But you guys have come here to live this life purpose. So when you're writing your blueprint, you're like, I want to grow big in this lifetime. You know, your kids in that circle going, I got you. And you're like, what do you got? And they're like, I'm going to graduate first, you know, and you're like, ooh, good one. That'll be a lot of growth, you know? And I mean, in heaven, it's light, it's perfect. Everything's bliss. And which is not like it is here. So you have no idea how freaking terrible it's going to be because you haven't lived that life. Typically, you usually, if you've lived that life, you don't want to do that one again. So, and you know, so just know that you have a great purpose through your child's passing for your growth, and they have blessed you with that growth. So I always try to look at the good in the terrible, because if I look at the terrible earthly side of things get yucky and mucky. You guys, I work with terrible passings every day. I have walked through the craziest tragedies, and people go, how do you do that? I'm like, you know how I do that? Because it is in heaven. It is there. Oh my God, sit the heck down. Guess how I got back here story. That's how light it is in heaven. So for us, it's tragic. We're like, oh my gosh, you know, like I walked in and I saw this and I saw that, you know, and it was just terrible. And I tried so hard. And for them, they're in heaven going, oh, here they come, about to find me. Oh, you should see them now. Get the popcorn. Come on. You know, like it's so light in heaven, you guys. It is so light. And so I know the other side of it. And I know that some of you guys have some epic kids with big personalities. You think they were going to go to heaven with boring stories? No. A lot of them have some unique ones. That's fine. You just picture them sitting, everybody else that had the boring story that went to heaven going, sit down, guess what happened here? And guess how I got back here, you know? So you guys, I see the beauty in every terrible, and it's the only way that I get through.
Oh, it's so beautiful that you're able to do that. We have just a few other
Yeah.
questions that I think you can answer very easily. Dr. Chandra is saying, are they still our kids in heaven?
That's a big one. So they're absolutely in your soul bond in heaven, stronger than you. So let me just back up for a second. And I did write this in my book. Remember, I talked about those drivers, right? We have the ability as a driver of the car to live very different dynamics in our life on earth. So you may have lived multiple lives, may not have lived multiple lives. You're not made to live multiple lives, but you have the ability. I know that I've actually lived in a previous life with my husband where we were not husband and wife, but we were buddies and we were actually on a battlefield in a war together. And I watched us both get blown off the beaches in Normandy together in that lifetime. And so, you know, I love my husband very much. Can I imagine myself as a man? You know, he's like, you're the closest thing to being married to a dude, and it freaks me out. Well, you know, I was like, well, in another life, you know. So, but our soul bond that we have in heaven long before we jumped in this car, because you're asking me about the child, you're thinking of the look of that child in the car or body, right? You have a knowledge of that soul that is in that car or body that you are so bonded to that you wrote to be their parent in this lifetime. That soul bond is unbreakable. They will always have been your child in this lifetime. When you return to heaven with them, you have a stronger connection than you ever imagined that simple parent of a child soul bond to be, is the best way to explain it. You go back to the same closeness that you had before you jumped in the cars together.
Oh, I just love this. We have somebody laughing in the chat box. Closest thing to being married to a dude. I love it. You are so
am
funny,
too.
Sarah. Um,
I have girly
I
parts,
just
but
want
yeah.
to tell people on here that you are making special deliveries like this weekend. You're going to the Imperial Dunes and you're going to be
Yes.
taking
So I don't know
action.
if Lisa Reynolds is on here, but when we were at the Helping Parents Heal conference and we were at the banquet, Lisa Reynolds walked up to me and I didn't know who she was actually. And she handed me a baggie of her son's ashes. And she said, I need you to take my son to Glamis Dunes with you when you and your husband go to Glamis. And so I was like, please message me your name, like his, you know, your son's name, like whatever. I will totally, like, I took the ashes, I got them home and I was like, crap, I have no idea whose ashes that I have and like who they belong, but I was still going to do it right. Well, then I just did a book signing and Linda Reynolds showed up and she goes, hey, I'm Linda Reynolds. I'm the one that gave you my son's ashes. And I'm like, oh my God, like give me his damn name. And so I wrote his name down and I have her name. And I just want to let her know she's on here. My husband and I are going for Veterans Day weekend to the dunes because my husband is a 10-year veteran of the Air Force. And we are going to be riding in our V8 sand car with Sterling, her son, and I will be throwing his ashes on the hill, just like she asked. And I'll make sure to take a video and we're going to have a great time with him. And I will be taking my Live Like Jeff shirt for Teresa Leone. Like I got this. Like,
It's just so amazing. We just love having you on here, Farah, and we're coming to the end of the hour. Is there anything, any wisdom that you haven't been able to give the parents yet? You've given so much that you'd like to give us in this 1 minute that we
honestly,
have
like
left.
I said, you guys, my biggest bit of advice for you when it comes to connecting your child is get out of your own way. Get rid of your self-doubt. Take it, put it down. It's not serving you. When I wrote my book about teaching your own connections, I literally probably put, here's where you let go of your self-doubt. Here's where you let go of your self-doubt. Probably 150 times, maybe even more. Somebody could count it if they wanted to. But it would never have been enough because it is very human nature to have that self-doubt. Get it out of your way. You have unbreakable bonds with your kids. And I want you to know that tonight you literally just heard your children. And I'm so proud of all of you. So,
Well, everyone's thanking you in the chat box. This has been absolutely wonderful. As always, it's always so much fun to spend time with you. And again, if anybody wants to know that the title of your book, it's going to be called connect with your child when he's in heaven. Is
Well,
that
it's
right?
how do I live my life when my child is in heaven? But that's not out yet. So you guys need to wait for that one. That one I'm still in the process of writing. The one that I have written for your own connections is Heaven's Voices Within Your Soul.
In your
So it's got
soul.
my hands with butterflies on it. You can get it on Amazon if you want it. But that one, honestly, you guys, take your time. Don't read it in a night and be like, I'm done. Take your time, go through it, understand it. It's short and sweet because I don't like reading myself. So just so you know, like, yeah.
And can you tell us how far out you're scheduling right now? Do you know?
I'm scheduling into April right now.
Into April.
But I
Okay.
will say an honest reading is worth the wait, guys. And there's a lot of beautiful mediums out there. I know that Helping Parents Heal has a list also, but yeah, I'm scheduling into April. And honestly, although it seems like it's far out, it's here before you know it. So yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been wonderful. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. We always ask everyone to unmute and say thank you. Irene, did you want to say something beforehand?
Just thanks, Farah.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh, Irene,
Great
I love
night.
you so much. Thank you.
Love
Thank you,
you.
Farah.
Thank you,
Everybody.
Farah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Farah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
night.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Oh my gosh, I love
Good
you
night,
guys.
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Love
Thank
you.
you, Farah.
Thank
But
you,
we'll see you
Farah.
soon.
See
All
you
right.
soon.
Take
Yeah.
care. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
You guys have a great night.